Hello guys, welcome once again. In the last video I have given you a brief introduction about ASP.NET and I have also shown you how to make your first ASP.NET website using your Visual Studio IDE. So in the last video I have shown you how to make this simple website. This is by default created. I haven't done anything to this website. It is by default created by Visual Studio, and in this video I will show you specifically about dynamic pages. So for example, I want to show you about, I will click login, and whenever you go to some website, for example Facebook or Google or Gmail, it has some login page. So for example, you gives your login and password and you can go inside the website or your own account, and there is something called register option also. So when you click register, you can register yourself to the website. So in this video I will show you how to make this registration page. So for example, I write here username, anything, and email ID and a password and confirm password, and when I click this button it says some message. If there is some mistake I have done while filling this information, it says password must be 6 character long, or when I does not enter any name or email, it shows me these messages. So I will show you how to make this kind of a registration page, and it will also show these messages using the validation control which we are going to use in the registration page. So this video I will start with making a new fresh project, and this time we will make a empty website. So I will go file, new website, and last time we have chosen this option, ASP.NET website, but it automatically generates some content for us. And for learning purpose, let's start with creating the empty website so that we will be able to create our own pages. So I will click empty website, and you can give the path of the website also and give the name of your website. So I will say login page, for example, and I choose this empty page, and of course our language is Visual C Sharp, and I click OK, and it will create a empty website for us. Now let's add a project, or not a project but a web page to it. So I will go to I will right click my project and I will click add new content, and I will say web form, and this name I can change. So for example, I will write registration.aspx. Okay, and I click add, and this will add a page. By default it's in the source mode, source code. You can just click this design mode, and it's nothing but empty design. So what we are going to do is we are going to add a table. So just go to this table here and click insert, and for example we want 7 rows and 3 columns, and I will click OK, and it creates 7 rows and 3 columns for us. So first of all, let's going following this information. For example, I want to write username, email, password, and confirm password. Okay, so I will copy this username and paste it here. Second is email. I will copy this and paste it here. Third is the password. I will copy and paste it. And the fourth is the confirm password field. So I will once again copy and paste it. And there is one more field I want to add here is for example, I want to add a country name which you live in. So I added this country, and right now you can see there is some content here. So what I can do is I can just select this. Selection I made is pressing the control key and selecting one, for example one row. Second, this is a cell, not a row, and you select all the cells, and what you can do is you can align these cell content by going here align, and for example I want to align this in the right, so I can align this in the right like this. Okay, and I can also change the font and other things from here, header height and everything. Okay, so you can do it from this place, and individually if you go here, so I can, what I can do is here I can change the style, title and the ID of this thing. Okay, so now what I will do is I will add some text boxes for entering the information. So I will go to the standard toolbox and I will search for the text box from here and drag and drop into this cell. Okay, and in the same way I can drag and drop to the second cell for email, third cell for password, fourth cell for confirm password, and the country name. Generally we have a drop down menu, so let's browse for drop down list. This is the drop down list, and drag and drop into your cell, and you can choose the items in the drop down list, so you can add as many list item as you want. And for example, the top item I want to add is select country. Second item is the name of the country, USA for example, and third is UK, fourth is Germany, and the fifth is France for example, and you can add more names of the country. Okay, and I click OK. Now I want to align them also, so just select all these controls, and what you can do is you can go to the width and provide the size of your text boxes and combo box. So I write 180 px for pixel, and I will click enter. You see the width is all automatically changed, so I will click all these control, and then I change the width 180p 180px. Okay, once you have done that, in here we will add some validation control. So whenever you submit your form and if some information is not correct, you will be able to see some messages. Okay, so I will just adjust this a little, and in here I will add a validation control. But before that, we need to change the ID names from here. Okay, so just the ID name of this text box, we name it as UN for username, and second text box ID is email, for example. Third is pass for password. Fourth is our password, repeat password, and fifth is drop down list country. Okay, so we know that these text boxes and drop down menu indicates what field. Now let's add a validation field. So validation field is nothing but these field which appears when some alert or some wrong information is given by the user. So I will go to this validation, and here I will choose requested field validation. Okay, so I will drag this requested field validation one by one to my cells corresponding to the username, password, etc. Okay, and now I can change the message, error message, which I want to show. So let's go on these lines itself. So for username, I want to show the error message as, so just select this required field validator and go to the property and go to error message here, and just write your message, whatever message you want to show. Second was for email. I will just copy it, and second validator and paste it here, and third is required password. So I will go to third field and paste my error message here, and fourth field was the confirm password. Okay, so I will just copy and paste it here. Fifth field we have added by ourselves, so let's give a message. Select a country name. Okay, so this is our message, and you can align them, these fields also. Just select all of them and just go to align and justify, this time left. Okay, so this is the message. I can also change the font color or foreground color of this messages also, so that it shows in red. Okay, so just control and select all these and go to forecolor and select red, so it will show the message in red. Okay, once this is done, we will connect our requested field validator with this text box. So how will it know that it has to show this message when this field is empty? So just select your field validator and just go here and we will search for control to validate. So this is the control which it will look for to validate this message. So for the first control, this is username, so I will choose text box username. Second is for email, so just select this required field option from here and go to control to validate and choose text box email. Third was for password, so text box password. Fourth was for repeat password, and fifth was for the country name, drop down country. Now in here we also need to provide a initial value, because if user doesn't select anything, then we need to show this message also. So the initial value is select country. So just open this and copy this select country from here and just select this option once again, required field validation, and in here in the properties search for initial value and paste whatever you have copied from here and paste it here. Okay, so this is also done. Now our password, we cannot show it to the outside world, so we need to protect our password. So what we will do is we will select our text box for the password and select text mode, and we say it's a password, and confirm password also. Once more select your confirm password text box and we will select this as password. Okay, all this is done. Now for example, you need to confirm password, you need to check whether this password and this password field matches. So whatever you have entered in this text box, you should enter in this text box. So how will you validate that, yeah, and confirm that your password in these both fields are same? So there is a validator for this also, which is compare validator. So just choose this compare validator and drag and drop in this cell where you have confirm password is required, and drag and drop here, and in here change the error message. So you can say both password must be same. Okay, and what you can do here is just select the first option, which is required field, and click arrow button and press enter, so it shows on the second line. Okay, and just select it and change the font of this also, core color also red, and here we also provide the control to validate. Control to validate is this field, which is text box repeat password, and the control to compare also we need to provide, so it will compare with this password field. So we will choose this control to compare and choose the text box password. Okay, so this also we have done. Now to validate the email also, email somebody can write his name and this will not be a regular email ID, and you also want to validate your email ID or whatever user have entered the email ID. It should be a valid email ID, it should not be any random text. So you can also validate that also. by using a validator called regular expression validator. Regular expression is nothing but it just check for the pattern. For example, it checks for the email pattern, and if user has it matches the pattern of email, then it will say okay, you have entered the right email, otherwise it will show the message. So drag and drop this regular expression validator in here, in wherever you have email is required requested validator. And in here we can also change the message. From here we write you must enter the valid email ID. Okay, and we can change the forecolor of this also once again really quick. Okay, and I will choose select it, and from my arrow keys I will just press enter here. Okay, now my messages are done. Now what I need to do is I need to submit this form. So for that I will need a button, so I will drag and drop a button here which will submit my form. So I will change the text of my button as submit, and for example I need to reset all the fields also. So what I will do is I will go to this HTML field here, and I will choose this input reset button. I will drag and drop it here, and it already have the text reset, so I will not change the text of this. And now what I will do is I will just select this button and I will double click it. So when I submit my form, it should show me some message that if all the fields are correct, then registration is successful. So I will write register. Okay, so it's not register but response dot write, and on the successful submission of your form, whatever message you want to show, just show it here. So you can write is here is your registration is successful. Okay, let me make it bigger so you can see it. And now I think you are ready to run the program. If some error comes, then we will see it later. So just choose this start debugging. You can run your program like this also, just click this button, or second option is just right click your project and say view in browser, and it will show a message. So you say yes, and you can see whatever forms you have here, registration ASPX, you can see it here, and it will open your registration.aspx, and it's showing some error, and it says that the control to validate property of regular expression is not filled. Yes, we have not given the property for this regular expression field. You must enter the valid email ID, but we haven't linked it to this control. So what we will do is we will choose this control to validate, and we will choose text box email ID. And the second thing is what kind of validation we want to give to our validator. So we want to check email ID with this validator. So what you need to do is just select this regular expression validator from here and go to the property and search for validate expression. This validate expression checks for the pattern of, for example, the email ID. There are some other options also. Just go here and click this button and we will search for the internet email address regular expression. Just select this because we are validating internet email ID, right? And click OK. Now when I run the program, this time I will run it from here and say OK, and this time you can see your registration page, right? And for example, I write a username, programming knowledge, for example, email ID. Let's enter a wrong email ID, some text, random text, and then immediately you see here you must enter a valid email ID. Then we will enter a password and we will repeat our password once again, and we will choose our country. Okay, and we will submit the form, and it says you haven't entered the valid email ID. Let's enter a valid email ID, for example xyz@gmail.com, and let's delete this confirm password and let's check whether it shows the message or not. Yes, it shows that confirm password is required. For example, we enter some random text which does not matches this password, and now it shows both passwords must match. Okay, for example, we select no country, then it says select a country name. For example, we doesn't select a username, it shows username is required. And if everything is perfect, you can submit your form and you can see the message here, your registration is successful. So in this way you can create a registration form using your validation keys, right? So I hope you have learned how to create a registration page, and in the later videos, further videos, I will show you how to connect this form with the database and how to save all these values which you enter here into the database and then make a login page so that you can validate the data and then log in into the site. So just keep watching.